I want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Purple Reels is Watching. So we got 6 movies I'm going to recommend today. Just wanted to come out and be outside in the elements for a minute. And then I'm going to tell you guys about these movies. I'm always going to watch movies no matter if there's a pandemic or not. Sometimes I watch 2 to 3 movies a day. With this show, I'm just going to show you the movies that I think are good, based on the pillars of Purple Reels. And these films are gems. These films are Purple Reels, meaning that a lot of films, sometimes they fall through the cracks of the mainstream. You know, those movies get all the exposure, which I'm sure a lot more movies are getting more exposure now because people have a lot more time on their hands. And so some of the pillars of Purple Reels, or these films that are gems, they're inspirational, they're multicultural, they transcend race, gender, and class or creed, and they're thought-provoking and they're unapologetic. You know, like that discuss different issues like maybe sickle cell, or maybe a lot of films talk about death, so but not necessarily about the aftermath and how people deal with that. So that brings me to one of the first films I want to talk about, which is Just Let Go, which is directed by C.S. Clarke, Patrick Henry Parker. It came out in 2015. It's rated PG-13, and the executive producers are Craig and Emily Stewart, which I'm hoping is the same Emily Stewart that has the Stewart Cinema and Cafe in Brooklyn, New York. If so, shout out. So the 3 things that stood out in this film for me are forgiveness, grace, and love. So it's based on a true story, and I love films like these. These are gems, or jewels, if you will. I'm just going to show you a couple of different parts that stood out to me, like when the son didn't understand the father's decisions. So cue that. Hopefully no ads will pop up.
It's been a long day for all of us. Michael, why do you care all of a sudden? What? Now you're a dad again?
He's not understanding like how his father is dealing with the death, and because to him it's not registering. See, people deal with death in different ways, and so if a person is not showing the signs of grief that some people feel should be happening, they feel like you're not, like you don't care, or some people anyway.
Aren't you angry? Yes, of course I'm angry. Michael, why don't you show it?
That right
Don't
there.
you miss them? What do you want me to do? Stop pretending like everything's gonna be okay. My life is screwed. Your life is screwed.
Michael, have some respect. He's your father.
You have to be respectable to get my respect.
Ooh, that boy would get his butt.
What did you say?
Boy? Who? Talking to like that?
You think this is easy? Holding this ship together?
So this movie is not for the faint at heart. It really is not, because already in the beginning they're, telling you like what you're gonna see. Like the family has dealt with the death in a car accident. So this is not, telling you the movie again. As I say, you have to watch it to see these things play out. It is a test of his faith, meaning the main character, the father, much like Job in the Bible, if you follow in the Bible, Job, who was a very rich man who feared God, but had all of his riches and his 10 children taken from him. It was kind of like a test. So is he still going to trust God, or is he going to curse God? But I know in some African cultures, they actually believe in allowing people to grieve for years, and no one looks down on them as they might do, in a Western society. After those years, then they're, like, okay, that's enough now. So the next movie I want to talk about is called From This Day Forward. And this film is pretty cool because it was directed by Roger Melvin, which I happen to know the director, so shout out to him. What I think about this film is that it's a quality film with core values, and it, to me, as far as how it was shot and everything, it reminds me of a long sitcom, because it's a movie with a sitcom appeal. But the focus is on key issues within a marriage, and within a relationship before they say I do. So there's like two couples that are friends. One couple is marrying and one couple is engaged. And so it's interesting because they're both learning from each other with these real life issues, and they're able to talk to each other about, and in a way influence, but at the end of the day, people, are going to make their own decisions anyway. So each couple and characters explore their values and expectations from each other and of themselves and their relationship. And they all learn that assuming is not always the best route. I really enjoyed this film. I actually watched it twice. And I think that both sides, the male and the female, and the married couple and the engaged couple, they both have very valid points. So I think you'll really enjoy this film as well. And again, shout out to Roger Melvin, who directed it. Now, the next movie I want to recommend is called Passion Fish, which I think is a very fitting name. This movie is a classic film. I guess all the movies in the 90s now will be considered classic. It's directed by John Sayles, and it was also written by John Sayles, the screenplay. It came out December 11th, 1992. So it stars Mary McDonnell and Alfre Woodard. I'll just say those two because they do an excellent job in this film. Of course, longtime fan of Alfre Woodard, who, was the mama in Crooklyn. But this movie, I think, was really, really, really good. After a soap opera actress, Mae Alice, has a car accident, she is paralyzed and forced into a wheelchair. She retreats to her family's vacant home in Louisiana and indulges in alcohol and self-pity. When nurse aides come to help, Mary Alice unleashes her anger, prompting each nurse to quit, except for Chantel, who's played by Alfre Woodard. A nurse who desperately needs the job arrives determined to change Mary Alice's outlook. As the two women become friends, they help each other cope with challenges. So, Alfre Woodard is like, yeah, she needs this job, but she's not going to be a pushover. Yeah, she needs the job, but, there's some things that she's just not going to tolerate. And the thing I like the most is they don't ever really mention race like that in the film. And I really can appreciate films like that because it's like a good film to me is one that, like I was saying earlier, transcends race, transcends all of these things, where like if you were to put drop any race into the film, everyone can relate to it, and because it speaks to the human spirit. So that's what I think that you can see here, because different issues pop up and like people come to visit, after. It was hard actually for me to, get through the beginning of the film because, you know, I had a sister who dealt with the whole, you know, paralyzed thing towards the end of the disease that she was dealing with. So, but once you get past that, like I said, I give films like 10 minutes, but this one I gave it a little more. And I'm glad because it turned out to be really good. Like I'm saying, it speaks to the human spirit. So, if anything, watch it long enough to where you can find out what they really mean by passion fish. Okay, so this next film is called Beat the Drum, and it's available for free on Tubi TV.com. It may or may not be available on YouTube, but I didn't check. I came upon it or discovered it on Tubi TV, so that's what I'm gonna recommend that you check it out on. So it came out in 2003, and it's directed by David Hickson. And so it's, oh my God, like, so what we're dealing with right now, the COVID and all that. And so in this film, they're dealing with a disease or something that's making the people in Musa's village, which is the little boy. This description says that it has been destroyed by an unknown disease. But in the film, we know when they bring you into the film, it's being destroyed by this unknown disease. Then this little boy, he has so much heart. Like, I'm not going to go into, like, you know, how he ends up going on the journey, but he sets out on a journey to, you know, like sometimes, you know, in life, like with little boys and, well, with little girls too, some things happen sometimes where you have to end up putting on your big girl panties or, you know, becoming the man of the house because the man of the house, you know, may or may not be stepping up to the plate or is not there anymore. So this boy has so much heart. Like, he's like there looking around, and I think he has a connection to spirit too, and he's just like, he has to do something, you know, he has to do something. Like, his grandmother, you know, she doesn't have the wherewithal to do anything else, so she, you know, tries to see what she can do through like rituals and stuff like that. But he embarks on a journey and finds out, you know, what really is going on in the name of this thing, disease that's taken his family so like rapidly, like this COVID, you know, disease. This is why I chose this film too. Just, you know, like, cause in the film, the village, the people of the village are like, they don't even want to. Well, when he goes to Johannesburg, I'll say, which is a big city, he goes to find his uncle, and also because there's some other things happening, which I really don't want to talk about. I want you to check that out. You'll see what I mean. But when he goes to Johannesburg, they don't even want to mention the name. They don't want to talk about it. But he meets someone, you know, like there's always like an angel that God sends, you know, to help along the way. So he learns many lessons, and what I like about it is how his character changes in a good way, you know, and he learns a lot about life, and like there's a lot more to life than his little village. You know, like even myself, I'm glad that I traveled outside of, you know, well, Seattle's not little, but, you know, outside of my village, which I also would encourage any other young people to travel because it does open your eyes to and give you perspective, you know, I would say. So, yeah, check out the movie Beat the Drum. It is a very good film, and I believe it is also based on a true story. This next film is called Life's Journey, and it's available for free on Vudu, also available for free on YouTube. I checked it out on YouTube, and it's about David Lyfe, who's played by Keith Robinson. A family man. He makes a mistake, when he finds out some life-changing news, because here's this guy with a budding family and everything seems to be going perfect, and then that's kind of how things happen in life, then bam, and then you know, the way they set it up in the film, it was just, yeah, basically he just had a down moment and ended up making a mistake and didn't even know who was attached, to this person. And so, again, this basis of this movie, what you get out of it is, love, and also forgiveness, the importance of that, and being humble and admitting your mistakes and all of that. When the life-changing event did happen, it wasn't like the woman was like, hey, I'm leaving. She was like, we'll be okay. We'll be able to work this out. But I just, I really like this film because it is, like I was saying earlier, unforgiving in its realness, meaning there's no withholding of the truth. Like, they just lay it all out there for you. So I think that it's one of those inspirational films that it may not be all happy-go-lucky, but it's kind of one of those things that'll make you think, like, okay, yeah, what if, So yeah, Life's Journey. And let's see, it was directed by Ryan Richmond. That came out in 2014. Okay, so the last movie is called My Other Mother. And I really just love Essence Atkins' role in this film. She was adopted as a child, and then she grows up to become this famous anchor woman and, writing books and all of this, but then she finds out that she's adopted. And her mother happens to be, her adopted mother is Jasmine Guy, so you get to see beautiful Jasmine Guy and her spicy self, as a mother, and, we're used to seeing her in a different world, and Whitley. She still looks really good, I'm really loving seeing her still pursuing, acting. Her other mother is none other than a thin line between love and hate, Lynn Whitfield. So it's gonna, with that pair, Jasmine Guy and Lynn Whitfield, you're gonna have some movie. And also Essence Atkins, and then Angie Stone is in there too, and Kendrick Cross, who, pretty nice looking brother. I really enjoyed his role in the film as well. But so she connects with her birth mother, Lynn Whitfield, and it's directed by Stan Foster, and this movie came out in 2014 as well. It's interesting, but it's also interesting that Essence Atkins is also in the other film I recommended, From This Day Forward. So yeah, she ends up finding out about her other mother, and when she attends the funeral of her father, and things are bursting at the seams at the funeral. And then so Essence Atkins, she has this strong personality, and even though her adopted mother has a strong personality too, when she meets her birth mother, it's like her close friends can all see like these traits, but she can't see it, So I think it's just really interesting, and it will definitely keep your attention. Showcasing the gems that may fall through the cracks of the mainstream. These films are gems. These films are purple reels. I wish you love and peace.
da da, la da da dun da da, da da dun da da, la da.